friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. So Facebook and Instagram are down while I'm filming this, so I figured I'd hop on Reddit and see what people are saying about NXT 2.0, my favorite hate-watching wrestling program these days, because holy shit, it's really bad. Before I get started, before I dive into Reddit, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up, and then the subscribe button, and the little notify bell. And you guys will get notified whenever we got new Wrestle Juice stuff over here happening. Let's dive into this. Let's take a look. Let's see there's a bunch of different topics here on NXT 2.0. Let's see here. Wrestling Observer Radio. Dave Meltzer says B-Fab versus Elektra Lopez was the worst WWE match of the year and does not think the direction of NXT 2.0 is going to help make stars. Look at that, 686 people commenting on this. Let's see what those people have to say. A lot of people don't like Dave Meltzer. I think he's all right. He says he does not think NXT running one show a week is going to help their younger talent develop, where they do one short match. Even when their basics compared to independent wrestling school students are not good. They really need NXT running the house show circuit they did, where their talent would do 3 to 4 shows a week in front of crowds. Yeah, basically that's one of my main issues with NXT 2.0, which, by the way, I'm going to do a video on how trash NXT 2.0 is. I'm giving it a little bit of time, though. I want to give it like a month or so. So like in the next couple of weeks, I might do that video. But that's one of my main issues with NXT 2.0 is that the younger talent, the people who've just been on, evidently a lot of the talent that are seeing TV time have only been with the company since February. So it's like, 8 months ago? Less than 8 months ago, they signed on with the company. And a lot of the matches they're doing on cable TV are like 3 to 5 minutes long. And so far, it seems to be like the exact same match playing out in the exact same way. Like if you look at the Creed brothers, they did a fine first match, and then you watch their second match, and it's like the exact same thing. So what Dave is saying here is, of course, because they're not getting the repetitions on a house show circuit in front of people in a live atmosphere, their matches are not going to be terribly great, which I sort of agree with. Let's see these comments here. Let's see here. Wilbert Fire says, well, this is a lesson in Meltzer's objectivity, if there ever was one. I really enjoyed the match. He says, not perfect by any means, but it's a step up from a lot of the women's matches we've seen recently, and I thought both women worked really well. A step up from a lot of the women's matches we've seen recently. What matches is he referring to? Because this wasn't a very good match. Let's see here. Phelps LAPD. I get why people are using the excuse that they're green and NXT 2.0 is developmental, but I watched the match, and while it's not the worst thing ever, it was terrible. Lots of moments of both wrestlers just staring at each other or looking awkward. Maybe that's the point, but it's not for me. It can't be the point. The point for NXT 2.0 can't be to watch wrestlers learn how to wrestle. Unless it's like some documentary series like Breaking Ground. That can't be the point of NXT 2.0, right? Let's see here. Few Sir says, I don't really care, to be honest. I'm a fan of B-Fab and the Hit Row. One bad match won't change that. Plus, it's still early days to speculate on whether it will or won't make stars. It's not really too early to speculate on that, because, like, that's what speculation is. Moving on here. Let's see here. You follow me, friend, says, that's cap. That means that's a lie. Eva Marie or Nia Jax has had worse matches. I will actually agree with Eva Marie having worse matches. The problem is they haven't really had Eva Marie in a regular actual match yet. She's been in matches that have like sort of covered up her vast weaknesses in the ring exclusively. Like she's been in a squash against Doudrop and then tag team matches where the idea is she doesn't really see much action. So I don't know if you can point to an Eva Marie match that's worse than this. Let's see here. The W21 says, this is what was concerning a lot of us with these talks about making NXT developmental again. Because, yeah, it's going to come across very much that way on live TV. Being green was fine when they were hidden away in OVW/FCW. That's where you iron out the kinks. But the pressure is on for the USA Network, so you're just throwing folks into the deep end before they're ready. Some may think that's how it should be, sink or swim, but if you But if you don't have to do it, I think this way screws people over unnecessarily. We're going to have to wait in real time for a lot of these younger folks to just get TV ready. And I don't know how much the audience will have patience for that. It's like I wrote this. I couldn't agree with this more. This is exactly the W right here. This is exactly the problem, is that NXT 2.0 is chock full of people not ready for TV. And what did we see last week with the ratings? It fell down a hole, a massive hole. And I don't know what they're going to be able to do to dig out of that hole when a month goes by, 2 months, 6 months, a year goes by, and the wrestlers are getting better. But in the meantime, how far down are the ratings going to go? And at what point is USA going to be like, hey, wait a second, we're paying you guys $40 million a year, and you used to be able to deliver 700, 8,000 total viewership, 600, 800,000 viewership. You guys know what I'm talking about. And now we're barely scraping together. What's the floor? 300,000, 400,000? Like, what's the floor there? At what point are they like, we'd be making more money running reruns of SVU? I don't know. I mean, it's not my problem, it's their problem, but still, you've got to think that's a problem. Let's see here. Killer Cali 87 says, how many times has AEW had talent on their national TV show that looked untrained and didn't say a goddamn word about it? Oh, and he didn't say a goddamn word about it. I kind of feel like AEW hasn't really done that at Dynamite. You can probably see plenty of that on Dark and Elevation, but even they pull from the independent wrestling scene where wrestlers have been wrestling for a while. I kind of call bullshit on that. I don't think we've seen that on Dynamite too much. There's like a couple instances that stand out, like, for example, Thunder Rosa and Ivelisse, but then they sort of got rid of Ivelisse and stopped using her because that seemed to be less about experience because both of them had plenty of it and more because evidently they didn't really like each other. Let's see here. Headshot Scott says it may be the most tone-deaf thing they have ever done, which is a major accomplishment if you consider the sheer number of tone-deaf things they've done. The new NXT is counter to what modern fans enjoy and want. It may have needed some revision, but they burned down the house rather than paint the walls. I agree. Totally. Oh, man. Let's see here. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go down over here. I'm just gonna randomly stop on one. Here's one. Oh, that's way too long. Let's see here. Oh wow. Primo Me Suit said, hard disagree. Was clunky, but hardly the worst match. I was entertained. I'm also liking the direction of the show. They're going out of their way to try to give everyone a character, even if it's a little wacky. They're not really any new people debuting that are just, I'm just good at wrestling. I'm going to kind of half agree with this point. Because the one thing that NXT 2.0 is doing is like giving everybody something to do. Not everybody, but everybody they're putting on TV. They are giving them characters. A lot of the, and Larson mentioned this endlessly over at Going in Raw. A lot of the problem with NXT 1.0, or some of the problem he felt, and I kind of agreed with him, was that too many of the characters were like, I'm a badass. And there wasn't much more beyond that. And it's fun to see guys like, I don't know, I feel like Kyle O'Reilly went through a phase like that. Timothy Thatcher sort of went through a phase like that. Roderick Strong was out of the Undisputed Era for that brief period of time. Ciampa is kind of that. There was a ton of people there in NXT that were just like, hey, I'm a badass. That's just my thing. That's what I do. And there wasn't enough character stuff there. But what they kind of don't need is just like a bunch of random ass gimmicks that's like throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. A lot of the gimmicks in 2.0 are just not well thought out. Like Tony D'Angelo. But we'll get to him when I get to that video. Let's see here. I disagree with liking the direction of the show because the characters are kind of shitty and the wrestling's really bad. And I personally just really like the wrestling. Let's see here. Wow. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Lily Whiteclaw, in response to whatever this is up here, says, dude, it's nuts. They pretty much told everyone what kind of show this is going to be, and now people are mad that it is the show they told everyone it's going to be. I don't think NXT 2.0 ever said this is going to be a show. Number one, NXT never said anything. Nick Khan said some stuff in an interview that they were getting a visual rebrand and they're going to be focusing on younger stars, so maybe that's what he's talking about here. But NXT, that was one of my problems with 2.0, is that there was never a reason given for any of the stuff that they were doing. Like, it's not like Regal showed up in the middle of the ring and said, hey, this is the deal. We're undergoing a complete rebrand, and we're going to focus on the future stars of the company. That never happened. It just sort of happened. Like, they ran those video vignettes with the new logo, and then, like, it just happened one week. And nobody in storyline or on screen ever said, hey, why are these people here? Which is weird. Like, if you have no idea of any sort of wrestling media out there, if you don't listen to Meltzer or read the Wrestling Observer, if you don't follow Sean Ross Sapp on Twitter, if you don't listen to Going in Raw, Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic, whatever, and you're just a fan of NXT, and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck is this? They never explained it. They never actually explained what was going on there. Oh, man. Anyways, I thought that was kind of fun to look at the general reaction on Twitter. In this case, it was a Dave Meltzer quote. Let's see what the discussion thread here for 2.0 is. This is probably a fucking mess over here. Let's see here. Here we go. Good show. Highlight was definitely the honeymoon. Piped in booze and camera cuts. NXT sucks. This is from last week's episode. Let's see here. The end of wrestling and wondering which old movie you're going to ignore while you look at your phone, as is tradition. Wouldn't have made a ton more sense if they had won the tag match earlier. Yeah, Toxic Attraction, yeah. Let's see here. AC Slater says, haven't watched NXT for a few weeks. What did they do to the great show it used to be? Yeah, everybody's blaming Vince and Bruce for that one. Gigi Dolan got busted open with that shot with the title. DJ Bryan says NXT finds new ways to shit the bed. Let's see here. Dark Star says it's hard to be worse than Retribution, but Toxic Attraction is getting there in terms of not caring. Yeah. And Blizzard says I can't tell if those are real booze or piped in booze. Man. They were piping in noise to what do they call it now? NXT, is it just the NXT 2.0 arena? Whatever they call it now, the Performance Center, the CWC. Let's see. I'm going to keep on going down here just for fun. Let's see here. People, NXT is overran for like a year now. Oh, man. Good Lord, what a mess. Anyways, that's my look at Reddit responding to NXT 2.0. It's kind of curious. It's kind of interesting to me just how divisive the response seems to be. A lot of people are into it. A lot of people are not into it. It all sort of is just indicative of what people look for in their wrestling. I personally like a good mix of like really good in-ring stuff and some good stories with some well fleshed out characters. And but some people don't care about good wrestling, well fleshed out characters, or stories. Anyways, check out one of these other videos I got here on the channel. I'm going to do a proper video about why NXT 2.0 sucks so bad sometime down the line with like visuals and graphs and pie charts and shit. Don't you want to see that? If you do, let me know in the comments below. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.